for once, we won't start with celebrity deaths.
All right.
They'll come later.
Oh, great.
But first, we're celebrating the life of a celebrity.
All right.
Kind of a celebrity life.
That's great.
One of those lives, an incredible life, is that of James Hong.
I know. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about now.
Who has received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yes.
Last week, at the age of 93 years old.
Oh my God, it's just amazing.
He has 469 TV credits, 149 feature film credits. He's been in 32 short films and 22 video games.
That's a
quarter
lot.
of which are probably Kung Fu Panda related. But still, I'm just guessing he's in Kung Fu Panda.
I have no idea. But,
he has worked with stars from Clark Gable to Seth Rogen.
That is quite a range.
And he even had a porn phase in the 70s.
Oh.
I don't think that he was one of the main performers.
Okay.
But, everybody does all kinds of things.
Sure.
And apparently, he's friends with Jamie Lee Curtis. She's also in Everything Everywhere All at Once, which he's, of course, in because, hey, it's an Asian movie. Ring, ring.
But he wasn't in Shang-Chi. He probably should have been in Shang-Chi.
Yeah, I was just going to say, they must have missed him. He was probably doing something else.
Probably.
Doing a video game.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's about time. I think it's incredible. I think less than 1% of the names on the Walk of Fame are Asian actors or Asian American actors. Mm-hmm. And that's too little.
It is too little.
He was, of course, born in Minnesota.
Yes.
Through a long time ago.
Long time ago.
And he's been working, like I said, I think he worked with Groucho Marx.
Oh my God.
This must have been
Groucho must have been very old.
This is, in the 50s. It would have been very early on.
Yeah.
And of course, he's been in movies like Blade Runner and Chinatown, and he was, of course, on Seinfeld, and was in the Kung Fu Pandas and a bunch of other stuff.
He's just wonderful, and I feel like I remember seeing a petition to get him a star, and I feel like I signed it.
Good. Thanks for your good work.
Yeah. But people were really like, this needs to happen, Yeah. And I 100% agree, and I'm behind it. And he just seems like he's like a really laid back person too.
He is.
Yeah. Like, do you remember the one time you saw him? And I don't even know if I saw him as well, but it was like at a con.
Yeah.
And he was just like walking around, having a meal, just being.
He was having a meal on the run. He was just eating. Yes. He was snacking on something.
Yeah, he was just being a human being, and like
he walks among us.
Yes, yeah, but I think it's cool when that happens, when somebody is like really chill and they don't have like an entourage or whatever, and he just seems like he has a good humor.
Well, he certainly deserves it. I mean, he's had an incredible career and has been around for so long.
Yeah.
And it's just long overdue. When you think about some of the people who do have stars on the Walk of Fame, I'm not saying that they shouldn't have them, but they definitely got them for doing less than James Hong has done throughout his incredible career.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. And it's just amazing he has that many credits.
Yeah.
He must have zero downtime.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised to learn that he has that many TV credits. I guess I don't think about him as being on TV a lot, but obviously he is. I'm sure he's just been in a lot of shows, probably a really popular, day player come in and be a guest star.
Sure. Law and Order.
Because as far as that's 150 films is impressive. I mean, he's not up in like the Rod Steiger or Christopher Lee echelon, but they didn't do as much TV as he did. So he's a guy who has clearly just been constantly working for the last, 60, almost 70 years.
I saw some pictures from the event, and just great, huge smile on his face, and like you said, Jamie Lee Curtis was there, and it looks like they had fans with his face on it.
Oh yeah,
which that's pretty cool. Like I think they were like rounded fans with his face on it, and so it just seems like it has a really good sense of humor about things. So.
I am trying to figure out. I don't know why this is so important to me, but everybody who's born in Minneapolis, I want to know what high school they went to.
Oh,
I wonder what high school he went to.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a good kind of like indicator of like where they're
his
from
family,
and what their upbringing
yeah,
might have been like.
he's I guess that's a Japanese term, Nisei, but he's first
Second
generation, born here.
Yes.
His parents were immigrants, and apparently, oh, here I can help you with this. Apparently, his dad moved here from Hong Kong.
Sure.
And this would have been, the 20s, right? The mid 20s.
Sure.
And ran a restaurant for a while.
Wow.
And was the leader of the Hip Sing Tong.
What is that?
So, there's nothing slanderous here. But there are the Tongs are organizations, kind of our thing, if you will.
Okay.
This thing of ours.
I understand what you're saying.
And I've pointed out before, we've been to a restaurant on a certain street, and I've said, I pointed across the way and went, I don't think it is anymore, but that was the headquarters of the Hip Sing Tong for a long time.
Okay.
And there was a restaurant there. So that's probably the restaurant that his father owned.
Huh. That's interesting. Well, I mean, do you think that maybe
He went to Central.
I bet he did.
Yeah.
Because I bet he if what you're saying is all true, then I bet he grew up in St. Paul. And...
No.
Oh, he didn't?
No. Minneapolis. The whole way. Central.
Minneapolis.
Central doesn't exist anymore.
It doesn't exist anymore?
No, Central
what happened?
was they just demolished it and moved them to
Wow.
to other
I forgot about that. I think I took like a theater class there one
that was
weekend.
Oh, okay. But but that was in around Powderhorn. So
okay. Why did I think it was in St. Paul? I don't know.
By the way, we don't want to talk too much about where we live, but but Prince went there at least for a while, because I think he went to a music school too, didn't he?
Probably. A lot of famous people went there.
Yeah.
Where did Rachel Lee Cook go?
Oh, I don't know. I think she went to. Did she go to South?
Maybe she. I don't know. Why did I always think that like everybody went to Central, but maybe that's just the way I view it.
Central. Rachel Lee Cook was just a gleam in her. Well, no, actually, she might have been a bouncing baby girl when Central was decommissioned, but.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, when was Central decommissioned?
1982, they knocked it down.
Oh, then I never had a acting class there because I was just a babe. So never mind. Why? What am I thinking of?
You're thinking of Central and St. Paul. That's
what I'm thinking of. Okay.
That's still there. That's off of 94. But this is
Central in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is off of 35.
I'm so glad we're talking in so much detail.
Which was just
about
actually, it was
where
probably
live.
knocked down because of 35, because this is right around when 35 is being built.
Great.
A lot of Twin Cities trivia for you here at the beginning of the Just Enough Trope podcast. I'm your host Caliban, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mikan Hana.
And we're here to report all the news that's fit to cast in the world of nerdy entertainment.
Yes.
And that's what we plan to do today. After we do that, for our feature this week, we have it's not really a segment. I've kind of grown cold on just naming segments randomly and then abandoning them. But
okay.
If I was going to name this segment, it would be Second Chances.
Oh.
Films that have passed us by, but maybe we double back, see what's going on with them.
Yeah.
And we're doing that this week with a film called The Northman.
Yes.
The third film, I think, from Robert Eggers, director of
only the third?
The Witch, and also the other one, The Lighthouse.
Yes.
And this is his third feature.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't realize that. And for the longest time, also, I wanted to call this film The Norseman. And I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't have like a good reason for it, but like for whatever reason, that's just how it stuck in my head. I think this is a segment idea we can come back to because like second chances, because I think that there will be other films in the future that may pass us by.
Well, he went to North, I think. The Northman. Just guessing. But so we'll be talking about that later on in the show.
Yes.
What's going on?
What is going on? Marvin Gaye.
Unprepared to answer.
I'm continuing to read my book, and just kind of
gotta get through that book.
Yeah, I know. But it's it's been really good, and I never really thought of myself as somebody who would read Star Trek novels, but this is my second one, and I'm enjoying it, and now I kind of am like, well, maybe I should read something else.
Right.
But I don't know where to go because, like, I feel like the ones that I've picked are not necessarily typical, like, truck novels. So I don't know. So it's kind of like, well, where do I start? I think I am interested in reading, like, the other Garrick series that you mentioned.
But that Candle Ghost, anything?
Oh my God!
Check in on the.
Yeah, right.
Dr. Crusher
potentially could be kind of interesting if it was like kind of funny. But you mentioned
I would love to see an out and out comedy, but I don't think
right?
that's. Wow, this ground is so tread. It's very muddy, but I don't think that Star Trek fans want that, and so
probably not.
Yeah, I don't think that there is a really funny Star Trek book, but I could be wrong. You know, in the vein of Tribbles or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe David Gerald's got a book, you know, on up that alley.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you probably go somewhere else if you want a spacefaring comedy.
Yeah.
Like the Orville.
Oh, don't mention that to me. I'm not interested in that. Well, no, but you mentioned a series. I think it's written by Una McCormick. I think that it's about Garrick.
The Never-Ending Struggle.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe I'll try reading that at some point. I don't know. This is kind of new ground for me.
What about the comedy, right?
Yeah.
What about the 34th Rule, the book written by David R. George and Armin Shimmerman, which is about Quark and Rom in a concentration camp?
Oh, you had me, and then I'm not 100%
The 239th Rule of Acquisition: Life is beautiful.
Oh my gosh! I mean, I'll probably read it eventually. It sounds really interesting, and I do like it when the actors are involved, because I think it adds a little something.
Yeah, space comedy. Well, unfortunately, probably what's his name?
What's his name?
Red Shirts.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember his name right now either. I tried reading that. I got like several chapters in, and I was just like, I hate all of these characters.
There's a review of Red Shirts for you by what's his name?
Yeah. And a lot of people love him and his stuff, and they love Red Shirts. So
a lot of people have
a lot
of opinions about all kinds of things.
I just felt like it was, you know, he was exploring ideas that we all like had already had about red shirts and this idea, and it was like this huge joke, but it got blowed up, and it was like
it got blowed up real good.
And he's like, "Oh, aren't I clever?" You know, and I was like, I don't like reading books by people who think that they're like so clever and they're just reinvented everything when I feel like it's predictable.
So not a Stephen King fan.
That's not. I did read Carrie.
My clips are full today.
Yeah. All right, how about you? What are you up to?
Oh, I'm not doing anything.
Oh.
No.
You gave me a hard time.
I'm working. I finally found my good glasses. I'm going to put them on right now.
Oh.
I don't know if this is this podcast better be worth the good glasses, but
okay, this is the sound
these out.
Of swapping glasses.
So I found my good glasses, which actually are a little dirty. And I have just been working very hard, too hard on the different shows in the podcast. But hopefully it looks like we've got a kind of a break, or at least a cool down period coming up for me, which means that I can now focus on other things that have been neglected. So it's just there's no rest for the weary ever.
Yes.
Right about now is the time that we start to think ahead to the summer and some of the cons that we plan on attending. I would say probably like a 85% chance that we're going to end up at Shore Leave Con in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. I think that's in mid-July, so that'll be fun.
Yep.
Later in August, we've got Convergence, of course.
Yes.
And we're looking forward to doing that, although I'd really like to see a list of panels that I'm going to be on.
Yeah,
that'd really help me plan ahead,
but
you know, I think we could expect that's going to be at least probably June before we hear about that. So,
and that you might be optimistic.
Yeah, so that's okay. But no, I've just been working on that kind of stuff. But in the meantime, I am trying to read myself. I finished a book for Backtrekking, where we're going to talk later in the year about an episode of Star Trek that is, well, actually just the idea of Star Trek, which was in a lot of ways inspired by the novels about Horatio Hornblower.
Okay, sure.
By C.S. Forrester. Gene Roddenberry was inspired by those and the dashing men of sort of the British naval tradition, and that led to Captain Kirk and those adventures. And so I read the first book called Beat to Quarters, which is the first book in that series. I also have to read the short story Red Badge of Courage, or novella, I guess.
Sure, yeah.
Because we're talking about a DS9 episode that draws from that. So I get my reading from Star Trek.
There you go.
You're reading Star Trek books.
Yes.
I'm reading books for my Star Trek show.
What does beat to quarters mean?
It means to get to your position. The quarters are your positions that you have to be in. It means get ready for war. Battle stations.
Oh, okay. All right. I had a feeling it meant something. I just didn't know what it meant.
They named it something else, like Space Ocean Adventure or something. It has a different title here. Kind of like the Philosopher's Stone, the Sorcerer's Stone.
Oh, okay.
Because people are, they didn't want people to say, well, what is beat to quarters?
Explain yourself.
What are you playing Pac-Man? What's going on?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird with like the jargon if you're not familiar with it, but it's interesting too. So.
It is, and YouTube knows that I think it's interesting because all I get now are videos about white guys in blue button-ups talking about how accurate or not accurate movies are.
Oh, yeah.
What did I do?
I know.
I've screwed my algorithm.
I just watched a video with Robert Eggers and what's his name, Skarsgård, about the Northman, and now I'm scared that I messed up my algorithm.
You sure did.
Yeah.
How do you feel about SJWs?
I like them. I feel like I am one. So, yeah.
Well, maybe we'll get to some of that in the news, which is right now. Okay, now we have to talk about the celebrity deaths, unfortunately.
Oh, no. Okay.
Kind of a big one. This is going to be another underwhelming response from Mikon Hana, but it is kind of a big deal.
Great. Great setup.
Actor Fred Ward has passed away at the age of 79.
Yeah, I heard about this, and I had to look up who he was.
Well, so. I know that you've seen The Right Stuff, and he is in The Right Stuff.
Is that what is the movie The Right
Stuff? The 7 Mercury Astronauts.
Yes, okay. And that's the one where there's the clip of a guy running down the hall, and that was
yes, that's how the movie opens.
Community.
Okay, that's your way in. That's good enough for me.
All right.
He was also he's been in like some great B movies.
Sure.
And also some great kind of intentional B movies. So some of those include Time Rider, which I love Time Rider.
What?
The
what
Adventure
is that?
of Lyle Swan.
What is Time Rider? I'm very
Fred
intrigued.
Ward is a BMX dirt racer. Not BMX, he's a motocross racer.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's BMX, right?
No, it's a different thing.
Oh, okay.
And he finds himself in he gets transported back to old west old timey days.
Okay.
And so he ends up getting involved with some it becomes like a spaghetti western Kurosawa ripoff. We're going to defend the town against bandits type thing. And there's some twists and turns. And it's delightfully low budget, but some great stunts. He's in Remo Williams' The Adventure Begins, the most optimistic title ever for a movie that had no sequels. But and he plays like a CIA what is he? I don't know. He's a tough guy, international man of mystery. Kate Mulgrew's in it.
Oh.
And that is one of those movies that's kind of become a cult film. He was, of course, Joel Grey is in that movie too for some reason, which is I love Joel Grey, but he always shows up in weird places.
Okay.
He was in Tremors, and I think he was in Tremors 2.
I've heard of Tremors. I don't think I've ever seen it.
Those technically they're probably B movies, but they're so well loved, and I think they were well funded at the time. Like they're Universal films, so those aren't exactly B movies, but they're fun.
Yeah.
And he's in some other stuff. He's in a couple different Robert Altman films as well.
Oh, really? Which ones?
He was in The Player.
Okay, I've seen that.
He was like the studio security guy in The Player.
Okay.
He was in Shortcuts.
I don't know if I've seen that.
I just watched all of Robert Altman's films, but I kind of stopped in the mid-90s because I'd seen all those already. So I can't, nothing's coming to me immediately about other ones he was in. But if you told me, oh, he was in Nashville, like I'd believe you.
Yeah, sure. Right.
Although, no, he only got his start in like the mid-70s, so I don't think he would have. If he was in Nashville, it was in the background.
Sure.
Did a lot of stuff.
Okay.
He was a boxer for a while. He was in the Air Force. He worked as a lumberjack. which is like, yeah, okay, that guy's a lumberjack for sure.
Okay.
He studied, he went to Rome, actually, after doing his acting studies and worked on, like, as a mime. And he had,
Interesting.
he worked dubbing films, doing the English for, like, Italian films.
Okay, sure.
And he was in a couple of Rossellini films and kind of, like, came to Hollywood by this weird long road, but...
Like, started in Rome and then ended up in Hollywood?
Yeah, right.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And he's an American?
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Born in San Diego.
Okay. Does he have an Italian like background or anything?
I
Do you
don't
know?
I don't know, but
I'm just
I did say that
curious.
he was in Alaska as a lumberjack.
Oh, really?
So I think he's a guy who just goes where the work is.
Okay, that's fair. Interesting. Okay, yeah. How old was he again?
79.
Okay, yeah. Very young. I don't know what to say, like, because I'm not super familiar, but a lot of his films sound like they're a lot of fun. It sounds like he was a fun guy.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
I kind of want to watch Time Rider. That sounds pretty good.
Maybe we can work that into a Patreon.
Yeah,
thing
sure.
or something like that.
We could do that.
So that is very sad. Here's something else that's very sad. We didn't talk about this because it's not really within our purview. Because she's not exactly an actress, although I guess she's acted. But Naomi Judd passed away.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
The matriarch of the Judd family. Of course, a very successful singer, and
Yes.
along with her daughter Winona was one half of the Judds. Grammy-winning, CMA-winning a duo. And that's very sad that she had passed away. Then like a week or two after, Ashley Judd came out and said that she died by self-inflicted gunshot. And
oh my God.
the reason that she wanted to talk about that is because, and she in the past, Ashley Judd has spoken about mental health issues and mental health awareness and her own issues. And so she wanted to make sure that this was, a teachable moment, or at least a moment for people to recognize that even incredibly successful, beautiful people like Naomi Judd can be affected by this sort of thing.
Of course.
And we want to do that too. That's why we're that's
Well,
why we're talking about it.
and it's really important. And like depression is a very serious thing, and I don't know exactly what she was going through, but like if you are suicidal, it's best to talk to somebody, anybody, therapist, somebody that you're close with, somebody that you trust, and talk about what you're going through, talk about what you're feeling, journal about it. And like, it's not, nobody wants anybody. I feel like suicide is not the answer, but like, I understand why people feel that way and what they're going through. And it's not an easy thing. And it's not, I guess I can't say I understand exactly because I'm not exactly in their shoes, but you don't want to you want to be empathetic with people who are going through stuff like this. And also, it's depression is more serious than having like a bad day, and it's hard sometimes you want to look at the good things in your life and recount that and be grateful, but sometimes it's challenging.
Yeah. Even
though, I look at all these things that I've accomplished, look at my beautiful family, look at my wonderful life.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to see that. So.
Yeah. So, our thoughts go out to the Judd family and hope that they are, recovering from this and, celebrating the time that they had with their mom.
Yeah. And I think it was brave of her, of Ashley, to come out and to share that. Because I think that a lot of times when stuff like this happens, especially with celebrities, it gets, cover it up, or they say it's something else, or they don't share that information, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Well, I would like to, at this point, transition to a more positive story.
Let's do it.
Unfortunately,
Oh, no.
the story that I have is about Cary Fukunaga,
Yeah.
the director behind No Time to Die, the recent shitty James Bond film.
Yeah.
Also, the first season of True Detective,
Yeah.
Maniac on Netflix. He co-wrote It, Beasts of No Nation for Netflix.
Yeah.
He has been accused of sexual harassment and grooming by 3 different women.
No, come on. I'm so sick of this.
Sensei. What's the... Sensei. He's a third-generation Japanese American.
It would be Sensei.
Yeah, Sensei. So this is not great. He hasn't said anything, and he's going to try to not say anything for a while. I won't get into details. You can look it up online, but apparently after he commented something about the Supreme Court leak, I don't know what he commented. That'd be something good to put in the story.
Yeah,
but
right.
One of his accusers, like in response to that, was like, "You don't care about women, and it's go time, and here's all the information." And so she shared posts that he had made to her, said that he messaged her via Instagram, and they were intimate, but he would tell her that they can't go public with their relationship because it would look bad for him, that sort of thing.
Because she's young, or what?
Why
would it look bad for him exactly? Because he groomed her, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's more than 3. Now on Wikipedia, it says that an actress said that he pressured her into doing a topless scene for True Detective. Actress and skateboarder Rachelle Vinberg accused him of grooming. And this is the girl from before, I think. So anyway, just not great.
No, it's
Directed Jane Eyre in 2011. So that's good.
Great. Great. So awesome. This really makes me mad because we need more diverse directors, but what we don't need is more groomers. So
no, we're full up on groomers, I think.
Yeah, we're full up. Sorry, no more. But I'm sure we will hear about more.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think you need to say something about this, Corey.
Yeah,
Carrie, if I can call you Kelly.
Carney. He should say something. Absolutely.
Yeah, address these concerns.
Yes.
We can clear this up.
Yes.
All right. Let's move on to something that is actually kind of fun to talk about.
All right. Let's do it.
You're going to love this.
Okay.
Olivia Colman and Jessie Buckley are getting together for another movie called Wicked Little Letters.
Ooh, I am intrigued and I'm excited.
This is an art movie, if anything can be considered an art movie these days.
Yeah, sure.
Do you think?
I think so. I mean, I think the movie that they just did, The Lost Daughter, could be kind of considered an art movie, don't you think?
Yeah. It's based on a true story from the 1920s.
Okay.
The Coleman will be playing a character named Edith Swan, and she and the other residents of a seaside town of Littlehampton receive a string of shocking letters. And Jessie Buckley's character becomes under suspicion, and she
for writing the letters.
Yes,
or something?
and she might lose her freedom and the custody of her daughter.
Ooh,
that sounds kind of like the Scarlet Letter. But this is Wicked Little Letters. Oops, I just broke your whole film. Sorry.
It's going to be like the Scarlet Letter.
Let's cut that.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Let's save all the complaining about stealing things for our feature, because I got a lot to talk about there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I can't help it. I'm a pop culture encyclopedia.
Well,
so when you do something, I'm like,
it's
like this.
And it's like,
if everybody
obvious.
came to me, there would be no movies, because I would just tell you, it's like this and this. And you go, oh.
Oh, yeah, it is.
But then you can go, I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I don't care if it's not 100% original. I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah, originality overrated.
I'm still excited about this. I don't care. So, yeah.
Northman review coming in a little bit.
All right.
So it'll be interesting to see them share the screen, which they don't do in The Lost Daughter.
That's true because I guess spoiler for The Lost Daughter if you haven't seen it.
Well, they play the same character. Without a time machine, it'd be a little difficult.
Right, exactly.
Speaking of time machines, David Tennant and Catherine Tate are returning to Doctor Who.
I heard about this. I'm actually really excited. I think enough. Okay. So a little information, I guess, about my experience with David Tennant as the Doctor. I originally really liked him as the Doctor, and then like I had some moments where this is an unpopular opinion. He kind of irritated me a little bit, and like when he was like, "I don't want to go," I'm like, "Okay, you can go now."
Yeah, but go.
But really go. But I think enough time has passed. I'm actually excited about this. And I love Catherine Tate, and I loved their interactions together as the Doctor and Donna. I'm a little scared because it was really sad. He wiped her memory, and like she can't remember him ever again, otherwise she's going to die. So how is this going to work?
We'll fix it.
I wonder. Yeah.
We'll just fix it.
I mean, it's wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. So
if you're shooting Gatwa, you're like, great.
I know. I know, that was just last week. So I guess Sunday is Doctor Who news, but it's like, I hope this shouldn't like overshadow. It sounds like it's for a 60th anniversary.
So cool. No, I mean, look, yeah, it's been almost 10 years since the 50th anniversary where we had 3 Doctors.
Yeah.
4 if you count number 4 sticking his nose in there.
Yeah.
But if I was him, I'd be like, great, fantastic.
I know, that's kind of like what I thought about it.
The most popular Doctor back.
I'm so excited that you're bringing back the most popular one.
I had to click through. Normally, I read news stories for this show, but I don't really read news stories. Look, the way the internet has boiled news down to its most basic thing.
The title of the article?
Right.
Yeah.
And if you want more background, fine. But if you just want a tweet of news...
Yes.
Tweet, then you can get that. But when I saw David Tennant and Catherine Tate return to Doctor Who, I was like, well, I got to read this. First of all, it's BBC, so it's obviously like an official announcement.
Yes.
And I've seen these before. They're like, Paul McGann is going to return. And it's a Big Finish audio drama or something like that.
Yeah, right.
Which he never left, by the way. I think he's still doing those.
I think he is, too.
So, yeah, I had to read through. But, yeah, that is what it is. Russell T. Davies has already commented on it. Nothing specific. He's just saying, yep, they're definitely back. So we'll have to see what happens.
Right. Wait and see.
Yeah.
Get excited now.
So clearly, yeah, they're planning something big.
Well, I'm excited about it. How do you feel about it? Besides it kind of overshadowing.
I think they get a pass because I think it's probably worth celebrating the 60th anniversary.
Yes.
And you have to do something.
You do have to do something. I did read a little bit more about Shooty that...
although he did come back for the 50th.
He did.
Why isn't Matt Smith coming back for this one?
Great question.
Right?
He's shooting another crappy movie. So
wow.
He does not pick good movies. But he's in the Game of Thrones series. I wonder if that will conflict. Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, I
read the red eye from Iceland to Wales.
Yeah, right. He could do it. Maybe it'll be a surprise. I read that Shooty, like a week before he auditioned for the role, he told his agent that Doctor Who would be his dream job. And then, like, it happened, and then he's very positive about this. He's like, manifest your dreams, put it out there, and it's like, well, you got, first of all, right time, right place, and like, you got a good agent too, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So yeah.
Well, the agent gets a piece of that. The agent wants the same thing.
Of course they do.
So he just was like, okay, let's make this happen.
Yeah, it reminds me of Toast of London. I don't know. I bring that show back.
Yes!
I miss that show.
Yes!
I know.
Well, they are I think they're doing a special, aren't they?
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
And bring some of it back. And of course, it's a British show. They can always just drop in, I suppose, if they want to do it again.
Yeah.
What do you need? You need the agent set.
Yes.
You need the recording studio.
Yes.
You need the bedroom set.
Yes.
And then
that's about it. And
just,
then streets
it's whatever it is for that episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's talk about the CW and their
Okay.
shows. They're kind of cleaning house over there.
Oh no, like doing a Netflix.
Yeah, and of course, we've heard about Charmed and Roswell and Legends of Tomorrow, Batwoman. All these things are going away. A few new things are coming. I think they're going to go ahead and do this Winchester's Supernatural prequel series.
Oh gosh. Okay.
And a Gotham Knights series.
Okay. Right.
But
is that replacing the cop show, the Gotham Knights, or is that different?
The Gotham Knights show?
Yeah.
The Gotham Knights is I think that's going to be like the video game, right?
Oh, okay. So is it Gotham Knights NIGTS or KNIGHTS?
It's KNIG.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I feel like I pittered out halfway through that because I was like second guessing my spelling. I am a notoriously horrible speller. Anyways, okay. I don't really feel like much of that is like a huge surprise, but I guess the Winchester series, I mean, Supernatural went so long, so they're like, well, we got to get another one of those.
Well, the upshot or the point of this story, why I bring it up, is because all of these changes are because of mergers and streaming. The fact that a lot of these shows were broadcast shows.
Sure.
But the streaming has Hollywood Reporter did a big story on this.
Yeah.
And talked to a lot of executives and the people who would talk to them. And they said that it's, this is all because of HBO Max. This is all because of the streaming offerings and them sort of changing things to fit this new paradigm of broadcasting.
Okay, they say new. But
there's a level of money that they're willing to spend because, the streaming shows do okay, but they're seen as, instead of like direct, you've got Seinfeld. You're never going to let go of Seinfeld because you're going to run toothpaste ads on it. And so those are big buys. But when you have a streaming service, it's like, I don't know, maybe there's an ad, maybe there's not. Maybe you just want the fee that you're trying to get from your subscribers. And so you think about more as like, here, this is the buffet, all you can eat. These are our offerings. Yeah, it's like, oh, they got the fried shrimp. Oh, I like this place.
Yeah, right.
And so that's sort of changing how they're looking at things. A show like Riverdale, which is still around, by the way, is really big overseas. So no matter, people like Riverdale overseas. So no matter how,
they're like, this is like American high school. Oh,
maybe I don't know.
Not.
So no matter how good it's doing here, and I think it's doing less good than it used to be, it's always going to be around.
Interesting.
So you can have people watch it, but also so you can have people. It's distributed overseas on the streaming.
Okay.
And so shows that fit that are sticking around. Shows that aren't, like Charmed, which I don't think has a big international following. Legends, which I think same thing. I think that people had a very, very vocal fan base here, but I don't know how it does other places.
Yeah.
Those are all getting swept aside.
Well, I feel like the shows that were being canceled, I don't feel like I've heard a lot of people talking about them.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes sense to me. So, interesting. Whereas I do know people who watch Riverdale.
Still? Really? Wow.
Yeah, Tara watches it sometimes. I think it's just like something you have on in the background while you're cleaning or whatever. You're not like studiously watching it or whatever, and it's just like something, not great.
Yeah.
That you can. I think she still watches it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I know. So,
her cat likes it.
Yeah, right. Well, he likes Beyonce music videos. He's got good taste.
Right.
So
right.
So maybe he doesn't like Riverdale. I don't know.
Yeah. So we all know Redbox, right? It's weird that something that we all know could be so not doing good.
I feel like I haven't seen it in many places lately. Like it used to be at a lot of gas stations and like pharmacies and grocery stores, and I feel like I only see it at grocery stores now. I feel like I don't see it as many places.
Yeah, it is. It's a phenomenon. It's something that we all recognize, and it has been rendered completely obsolete by streaming services.
Right.
But that doesn't mean they don't have a future, because it was recently announced that Redbox will be acquired by Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment.
Oh, Lord. Okay. That was maybe the wrong thing to say.
Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment, which as far as I can tell is not, it's definitely like Christian adjacent.
Oh,
but I don't think that it is specifically a Christian thing. But they are a conglomerate. Yes. It's like the Hallmark Channel. The Hallmark Channel isn't like Jesus, but they would run a Jesus movie on Sunday, right? Yes. And all their movies are like, well, family and friends and love is the best part.
Yes.
They make stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now, I think last year or maybe the year before, they acquired Crackle. They are the corporate parent of Crackle.
Oh, okay.
I haven't been on Crackle in a while, so I don't know what's going on there. But,
yeah.
So they are
all about family and friends
in their own way. Everybody's buying things in their own pocket change way. Because this is a $375 million deal that's all stock. And mostly is just them agreeing to pay Redbox's debts. Because Redbox is not
doing well.
No, they're in the hole.
Well, I mean, I will say this. Chicken Soup for the Soul is a very successful book series. I don't even know how many different books they have. And I've read at least one, if not two of those when I was younger. And I know that I know I've seen at least one Chicken Soup for the Christian Soul, specifically. But it's like a wide range of different things, and like different stories and that sort of thing. But it's all, stuff that is positive or teachable, and it's not like negative stories.
Yeah.
So it's uplifting, I guess, is another way of putting it.
Yeah.
So
as far as
interesting.
As the boxes themselves go, we don't know. It's hard to wade through a lot of the corporate speak that always accompanies these mergers, but they seem to be focusing on the AVOD operation at Redbox. That is to say, the video on demand, because Redbox has streaming as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Nobody uses it. And so I think they are buying that infrastructure. They're probably assuming any streaming deals that they already have. Who knows if they'll continue.
Right.
And so I doubt maybe you'll see Redboxes continue to operate as Redboxes and offering more Chicken Soup movies. I know that Chicken Soup owns Screen Media as well, which is makes like direct-to-video movies, like like Van Damme's in like 4 movies a year, and they're all like direct-to-video, like movies like that.
Okay.
So this is like this is the low end of this the more economic end of streaming and filmmaking.
Do you think that like they won't have R-rated movies anymore, or am I like reading into too much? Like maybe it's okay if it's R, if it's not too violent, or if it's not too this or too that, or you know what I mean?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't watch those Van Damme movies, but I would be surprised if some of them weren't R.
I would be surprised too. Yeah. We watched all the Van Damme movies and talked about it like.
Well, we didn't watch all of them. We just watched a lot of them.
We watched a lot of them.
Yeah.
Felt like all of them. But I think we skipped a lot of the not so good ones. But he's in a lot of really good ones.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would be surprised if a lot of them weren't rated R. Anyways.
Oh, I think almost every Van Damme film, the early ones are rated R, and then he gets a little more digestible. Your Time Cops. Sure. Actually, no, Time Cops rated R, and I don't know why. His butt is in it. They have a sex scene.
His butt is in it. They have a sex scene. Doesn't somebody get run over by the time?
Yeah, it's America, baby. We don't care about that kind of stuff.
But it's a little violent, to say the least. So yeah, and probably swearing too.
Oh yeah, Ron Silver's dropping the F-bomb.
Yeah, so, that's probably a lot of
it. Then later, but like Hard Target, PG-13.
Which makes
wait a minute.
Sense.
There's no way Hard Target. What am I talking about? I know that he's in
films that are PG-13.
Well, it's Street Fighter. That was PG.
Yeah.
You know what? The death of the R-rated movie probably was the death of Jean-Claude Van Damme's career. Because he's trying to pull off Maximum Risk or something like that. And people are like, no, everything is, this is pre-superhero, but everything is,
sure, right.
Tentpole, 4-quadrant, PG-13. We got to sell, as many tickets to as many people as we can.
Yes.
And he's still kicking people and looking at boobs.
Yeah.
And we don't do that anymore. We don't do that here.
Right. This isn't the 80s anymore, so.
It's not the 80s anymore.
Good day, sir.
Van Damme.
Yeah.
Adieu.
I said good day.
I said adieu. Or whatever they say in Belgium. Which is probably adieu.
Probably.
Speaking of ratings in films.
Yeah.
Man, the segues are hot today.
They are.
Let's return to my obsession with this story about Ana de Armas appearing in an NC-17 film.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So she's going to play Marilyn Monroe in this film called Blonde.
Okay.
And it is the former controversy, more like the former advertising strategy was to let people know that this movie is going to be a no-holds-barred look at the life of Marilyn Monroe.
Right.
It's directed by Andrew Dominic, who has previously directed the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford, Killing
boy.
Them Softly. Real tough guy director, right?
Uh-huh.
He got a start. He directed a movie called Chopper. He's from New Zealand, and so
Okay.
he directed a movie called Chopper, which is a New Zealand movie, very successful, and starred Eric Bana. It was kind of Eric Bana's start too.
Oh boy.
And so he hasn't done a lot since Killing Them Softly, but he's been working on this movie called Blonde.
I mean, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I'm going to say it anyways. Is a male director the best director to bring the story of Marilyn Monroe to the screen? The unabashed true story of Marilyn Monroe?
The film's director has said, the NC-17 version of the Marilyn Monroe story is what viewers want.
Yeah, that's kind of... She was a sex object for a lot. She was objectified, and she played into that.
And that continues in her death.
I know. She played into that to an extent because she knew that was one way that, she knew that she was sexy and stuff like that, and she played into that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I would like to look into like what else was going on in her life and how she really felt about that. You know what I mean? And I don't think we're going to get that. I think it's just going to be like, oh, look how sexy she is, and also here are boobs, and I don't know what else. And
let me just this guy is just a trash fire. But let me just he can bury himself. Quote: I was surprised that they got the NC-17 rating.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought we colored inside the lines. But I think if you've got a bunch of men and women in a boardroom talking about sexual behavior, maybe the men are going to be worried about what the women think. It's just a weird time. It's not like depictions of happy sexuality. It's depictions of situations that are ambiguous. What is he talking about?
What is he talking
And
about?
Americans are really strange when it comes to sexual behavior, don't you think? I don't know why. They make more porn than anyone else in the world. Dude, that's why we make more porn.
You don't understand.
He can't just come out and say, there is nothing to this story. Literally, he just gave an interview where he went, it's going to be NC-17.
Because there's a lot of sex in it.
He's just trolling. He's just waiting for Variety to write another article for free publicity.
Yeah.
And he can't come out and say, I'm making a movie about Marilyn Monroe, but it's not that good. And so we're going to make it NC-17. So you talk about it and people see it. And it will work because your country is obsessed with Puritanism, which means you are also obsessed with sex.
Yes.
But he can't say that. That's giving the game away.
Yeah. What the heck is he talking about with like the men being worried about what the women are going to think with the board? What are you talking about, dude?
Well, what this is behind this is that this is a Netflix film. Now, it hasn't been announced.
What?
Well, it's
going to be NC-17 and on Netflix?
Well, let's talk about it. It hasn't been announced whether or not it'll have a theatrical release yet.
Okay.
Although that has to be in everybody's. Why would he make this if it's not going to get at least a small run?
Right.
But it probably will definitely hit the festival circuit.
Okay.
And he has said, working with Netflix, again, he's talking out of both sides of his mouth. He says that he's enjoying working with Netflix, but he has pointed out that Netflix, who also produced, they have interfered with other films before.
Oh, sure.
And they have they brought an editor in to sort of like help him bring his movie more into line with the Netflix sort of thing.
I see.
But if you're Netflix and your biggest competitor is Disney Plus, and Disney I don't. Do they even have R-rated movies? I think they finally
know that they do.
Well, I know they take Daryl Hannah's butt crack out of a movie.
If
you are counter programming against them, and you have a movie like say 365 Days, and now its sequel 365 Days, 366. Clearly, you were like, we are the streaming service where you can see some TNA on here, and we're not the Apple Dumpling Gang.
Well, I mean, HBO definitely plays into that.
Well, that's been their bag since the start.
Entire time.
Yeah,
it's TNA.
Well, sports at the very beginning, and then now this.
Yeah. Okay, so this is embarrassing, but I can't remember who Ana de Armas is. Do we do this every time?
Yeah.
I must just have I don't know if it's face blindness or just I have trouble remembering certain people. What else was she in and what did she play?
She was... The sad thing is, there's just one thing I'm going to say, you're immediately going to get it. But I know that you've seen her in other things. And I'm trying to... I want to think about those things so that she is not one thing.
Yeah, I know. I just feel bad because I know that I'm
going to start at the bottom of her.
Okay.
Actually, she hasn't been in a ton of films so far.
Okay.
All right. Here we go.
All right.
No, you haven't seen that.
Starting out great.
No, you haven't seen that. She hasn't been in a ton of stuff. You didn't see Knives Out.
No, but I know Knives Out.
Okay. All right. Then I don't feel bad because the first big movie she's been in, it's arguable whether Knives Out is a big movie. It did very well. I don't think it was necessarily designed to be a big movie. I don't know how much it cost. She was Paloma in No Time to Die. That's the only thing that you would know.
Oh, yes.
She was Joy. She was Joy in Blade Runner 2049. Before I've seen War Dogs. I feel like you've seen War Dogs, but maybe not. And she was Channing Tatum's girlfriend in War Dogs. That's literally the first. And then Eli Roth's Knock Knock was probably the first English language role you would have any chance, and that was 2015. So she is very new to Hollywood.
But she was the best part of No Time to Die. So yeah. Okay.
And she kept her clothes on, kind of. So she has proven that she can act and she can keep her clothes on, but she's kind of known for not keeping her clothes on.
Well, whatever. This happens all the time, and if this is
if I was her,
I mean, look at Eva Green. Although we haven't seen her in a while.
Eva Green she is that black swan, isn't she?
Yeah.
She is that thing that you can't predict. Has she ever been nominated for anything?
Great question. I don't know that she has.
This is one of those rare moments on the podcast where it's important we make a point about boobs, about women's careers. And so we're going to look it up. Okay. She's won a BAFTA.
Okay.
She has... Great question.
Yeah, okay.
For Casino Royale.
Okay.
Rising Star Award. Okay, so no. She was nominated for a Golden Globe for Penny Dreadful.
Okay, sure.
In the second year of Penny Dreadful? Okay. I guess that's where things get intense for her character.
Okay.
So, no. And we all know that she is a fantastic actress.
She is.
And she has received... Now, she works constantly.
Yes.
People love her. They love seeing her in things. But she has not gotten any recognition, and it's probably because she can't keep her shirt on.
Of boobs. Yeah, well...
So if I was... And maybe, it's too late for her. This is how contracts work. But if I was... I guess I am Ana de Armas. I don't know that I am, going to date Ben Affleck and be in a movie with him that didn't do well.
Ugh.
And I don't know that my character in No Time to Die is going to be the breakout star of the film.
Right.
I don't do this film.
Yeah.
Right. Clear.
Right.
I come from I'm a European. She's Spanish, right?
Yeah. Right.
I don't care about this kind of thing the way you do, but I understand that I want to be accepted in Hollywood and hopefully hold a golden statuette someday, and so I don't. But if she does this, I don't know.
Well, Europeans don't care. I remember going to France and turning on the TV in the hotel room, and there's just a sex scene in a movie or a TV show.
That's horrible. What time was it on?
It was in the afternoon.
Oh, that's terrible. Where's the hotel? That's awful.
Right. No, I'm just saying it's not a big deal. And so as Americans, we're very messed up and uptight about it. I understand what he said when he said that, but dude, slow your roll. And why are we making this movie about Marilyn Monroe as a sex object?
Plus, well,
she was a more interesting person than that. You know, she's not just that. That's all I'm saying.
I don't. Was she?
I think she's more.
She's a human being.
Yeah,
and she deserves respect.
And that's
but
how
she,
I feel.
you know, she worked in a munitions factory in World War II, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And then almost immediately was discovered, and then was in films, and then the rest of her life is just an Hollywood story. Now, I'm not saying that there wasn't drama there, but it's not like she, you know, invented the flushing toilet or something, and always wanted to get back to her engineering work. She's not a Hedy Lamarr.
No, she's not. But I guess I just want respect for her. I don't think that's asking.
Well, maybe
too much.
you'll be surprised. I doubt it because let's see. I fell asleep during Jesse James.
Yeah,
but you watched it.
Yep.
And I think we turned off Killing Them Softly. So
I don't even remember.
Maybe
that.
you'll make Brad Pitt. It's got a shotgun. Ben. That's an early Mendo role. Speaking of New Zealanders,
I have no
idea. Was he Aussie? No, he's Aussie. That's the same part of the world. I just love them all together.
Oh, don't do that. They don't like that.
Yeah, they wouldn't like that.
No.
But maybe you'll be pleasantly surprised that despite the fact that her TNA is on display for most of the film, it is a raw look at a real human being. But I kind of doubt it.
Yeah. I would be
Updates
happy.
as they come.
Yeah.
About Blonde.
Prove
Great
me
title.
wrong.
Great dumb title.
Yeah. She's a bottled blonde, right? She's not a natural blonde, so that okay.
Well, I think we'll find out.
Yeah. Woo.
We can't end on that. Well, actually, I think we can, because the next thing we're going to talk about is basically the male version of Marilyn Monroe, or at least. How come you can't go full Northman? How come we didn't see the Southman in the Northman?
Great question, and I think we should talk about it.
Appetite whetted. Robert Eggers, who is a pasty white dude with the alt-right haircut.
Oh, God. Is that... Yeah,
was
all right.
born in... Yeah.
Okay.
Was born in New York City. He... this is in his bio, so I'm going to say it. He does not know who his biological father is.
Oh.
He and his mom moved to Laramie, Wyoming.
Okay.
And she got married to Mr. Eggers, his stepfather.
Oh.
His stepfather... then became a provost at University of New Hampshire, and so they moved to New England.
Okay.
So some's, a high-level educator, some money there, right?
Yeah.
Trying to get a background going here.
Yes.
Apparently, his childhood in New England and going to, their reenactment plantations and stuff like that, influenced him in writing his first feature, The Witch.
Okay.
But also probably influenced his sort of love of the historical as it is. Every movie that he's made has been set in the past at this point.
Yes.
And he said in an interview that in doing this Viking movie, first of all, it was kind of Skarsgård's idea.
Oh, okay.
Skarsgård had apparently wanted to make a Viking movie for a long time.
I mean, that makes
Guy's a Swede.
sense.
What do you want?
Yeah.
Born in Stockholm.
Yeah.
But, perfect pairing, right?
Yeah.
And Eggers has said, I think, to get ahead of things, but apparently he believes this. He wanted to take the Norse and the Vikings back from the alt-right.
Okay.
That's why he made this film.
Okay.
I have two things. I have a question and a comment.
All right.
Question, how do you think this accomplishes that? Number one.
Great question.
Number two, don't we... Let me phrase this question in the form of a hypothetical. Mm-hmm. How are we going to rehabilitate the swastika? How are we going to do that? Let's set out. Let's start brainstorming. Let's get a think tank here together. I don't think we're going to be able to do that.
Be able to do that.
Now, it's one thing if you live in India, because it's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
And it has a spiritual connotation.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're gonna have a hard time if you're an Indian American and you're trying to, push that on people.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be able to do that.
No.
Last century, this century, not looking great either.
No.
I am Norwegian.
Yes.
I come from the land of the ice and snow.
I come from the land of the ice and snow.
And I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
And, not weirdly, but I think it's cool. I think that my history is cool, and I love hearing about other people's histories. And I'm weirdly obsessed with race in the way only a middle-class white person can be.
From America.
Yeah, American, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I like that. I also like, Norse mythology, and I like Marvel Comics. And so
Yes.
When I found out that there were Thor's hammer necklaces that you could get,
Yes.
that supposedly there's a lot that we don't know about the history of the Norse because they didn't write a lot down. And we'll talk about that when we finally talk about the movie. Mm-hmm. But apparently people wore these necklaces,
right.
to show their devotion to Thor or to ward off evil. And I thought, that's a cool thing. I'm going to get that. So I wore that for about 2 or 3 weeks. And I can't remember if somebody pointed it out to me or I read in a book somewhere that it is a sign of, they didn't call them the alt-right then. They just called them neo-Nazis, what they were.
Yeah.
And then the necklace went in the drawer, and I haven't worn it since.
Yeah.
You know why? Because I can't do that on my own. Now,
yeah.
Give me $90 million and a buff Swedish Superman, and maybe I can try to do it. But I kind of think it's the same thing. I think they're going to do what they're going to do. And the cultural forces at work here go beyond ripping off Hamlet. I don't think you can do anything because I've already been on YouTube and 78% of the videos are how great this is and how great that SJWs didn't ruin this and how this is what movies should really be.
Yeah.
And I mean, just from a film criticism standpoint, that's sad because
it is.
I hate to ruin my review, but this movie's fine, but not all that great.
I agree.
So anyway, that's how we're going to start. You start with the race. You let them know where we're going.
Oh, my God.
We're going to be talking about that as we go. Where are the black people in the movie? I'm an SJW. I'm super mad. I just want to get it all out there.
Yep. Well, and I'm sure Eggers would be like, well, that wouldn't be historically accurate, so we didn't have that in there.
Well, I think that if there was any way, honestly, you and I both know black people have been everywhere since the beginning of people.
Of course.
So you could absolutely find a way.
Yeah.
This movie is based on the legend of Amleth, which is a kind of revenge-ish tale that very famously helped inspire Hamlet, the Shakespeare play, although there are one or two other inspirations for that. Most notably a play that came out about 15 years before Hamlet. He just ripped it up. Well, there's no copyright back then.
Yeah, okay.
It's also in a lot of ways based on, some of the early accounts, the early stories. There is the story of Ibn Fadlan, who was a Moorish man who went on an adventure with a bunch of Vikings.
Okay.
And because the Vikings didn't write anything down, but Moorish scholars wrote everything down, his account is one of the most detailed accounts that we have of what life was like for people like this back then.
That's interesting.
And that book was his account was turned into a novel called Eaters of the Dead by Michael Crichton, and later turned into a movie called The 13th Warrior, which is, again, about as good as this movie. It's okay. It's not great.
Okay.
Starring Antonio Banderas.
What?
Well,
as the Moorish man?
He's Spanish.
That's true.
So he's the closest we're going to get to a Moor, right? The Moors were in Spain for a long, long time.
Okay.
So maybe this Ibn Fadlan is the Spanish guy, the Spanish Moor.
All right. Sure.
Not
Why
coming
not?
straight from Baghdad or whatever.
Right.
So it's based on that as well. And gosh, there's a lot of Conan in this, isn't there?
There is.
And I don't just mean that he's ripped and he's got a big sword, which he actually doesn't for most of the movie. I can't believe that the alt-right isn't mad that this isn't more of like a sword fighting epic. It's kind of a character drama like you'd expect from Robert Eggers.
Yeah.
But Conan is, in the first movie is trying to solve the Riddle of Steal. And I didn't know that Steal was spelled Steal. What happens in this film?
Oh gosh.
First, the Hamlet's king, father dies.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, I mean, kind of. So basically, it starts off and it's Amleth is young. He's maybe like 10 or something like that. And his father returns from war. And his dad is injured, but he's doing fine. And he decides that he's going to do some sort of ritual to like basically make his son a man. And he's like, it's time, sort of thing. And he's about the same age I was when my father died. So he needs to just be ready, to be king, or the ruler. Did they say king? Or I can't remember now.
Yeah, I mean, this is all they speak in English, although Old Norse is used
sometimes
in the film. Yeah. But I think they're just translating it to king.
Okay, so
because like king, what's king? Like king of everything,
king is ruler,
or king of like this block, but he's just king.
Yeah, and he has the king who's played by Ethan Hawke. Has a wife who's played by Nicole Kidman, and then his brother, who is the actor who plays the brother?
The brother of Ethan Hawke?
Yeah, I can't remember his name. Claes Bang.
He's a Danish actor.
Okay. He did a great job.
But he's not asked to do a whole lot.
No, he was not.
We'll get to it.
Nobody was. Then cut my place. So they do the ritual. Oh, and Willem Dafoe is in it as the fool, and he's helping with the ritual. They get out of the ritual like right away. It's great. What a beautiful day. Amleth is catching snow on his tongue, and then almost immediately his father starts getting attacked by these masked men, and he tells Amleth to run away. And so he hides behind a rock nearby, and he watches as his uncle and his uncle's men kill his father. Mm-hmm. And then they want to go after him because they want to kill him as well. And so he runs away and gets captured kind of by this one guy and cuts off his nose.
Yeah, this is important.
This is
going to track.
No nose is important. But then he sees his mother, what he believes, get basically kidnapped and like forced to marry his uncle, but he's trying to escape. So he gets in a rowboat and he says over and over again, I'll avenge you, father. I'll save you, mother. I'll kill you, whatever his uncle's name is.
Ilan Payne, the Mountain. Cersei Lannister.
Yes, exactly. So it's the same kind of sort of thing. And then we flash forward like 10 years or so, something like that. And he is in another part of the world, and he's kind of forgotten his oath, and he gets visited by a spirit reminding him. It's like the spirit of the fool, because he took his tear and he said, I'll give this back to you when you need it. But it's played by Bjork. And
you missed the fact that he's now like a berserker.
Oh yes,
raider warrior.
He's a berserker raider warrior, and he just kind of like kills a whole bunch of people. He doesn't do the raping, but other people do.
Yeah, it's very Eric the Viking in that way.
Yeah, and he doesn't.
I wish we watched Eric the Viking instead.
Yeah, I don't even know what Eric the Viking is.
Terry Jones. Tim Robbins plays Eric the Viking.
Okay.
Miscast, but isn't Tim Robbins miscast in everything?
Maybe.
The guy is a movie star because he doesn't really fit anywhere. He just sticks out, and that But it's perfect because he's this Viking, and he's like, this would have been Woody Allen if it was made 20 years before.
Okay.
And he's like, I don't like the rape. The pillage is okay. The raping, not so much.
Yeah.
And it's directed by Terry Jones of Monty Python.
Okay.
And it opens with them assaulting this village, and he gets this, he breaks into a house and there's a woman in there, and she's like, so I expect you're going to rape me, huh? And he's like, well, I don't really, and they have this conversation about like, well, what is it like? Am I not attractive? It's like, no, you're attractive. It's so
my gosh. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that would have been interesting.
See, rape joke's funny. Don't quote me on that.
No.
Don't quote me on that.
No, I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then, like, he doesn't participate in the killing of children either, but that is also happening.
It happens.
Yeah, but anyways, he gets visited by this spirit who's a blind spirit, Bjork, who I think did a really great job, even though she's only in this bit part. And she, like, reminds him of his oath and that he needs to go back and kill his uncle and do this thing. And basically tells him, you'll find the sword that'll help you do it. And, basically gives him more of this
the whole thing
myth, or like what the whole thing about what you're going to do and what's going to happen.
You'll fight your enemy on a plain of fire or a lake of fire.
Yes.
And you'll have to. Does he get the one about how he has to choose between? I
think that's later. Okay. He has to choose between.
Oh, that's right. That's the he witch.
Yeah, he has to choose between kindness of his family and
or getting his
revenge on his enemies. Yeah. So then he changes his clothes and cuts his hair and swims to get on board a slave ship that is heading to where his uncle is at, and also presumably his mother. And he meets Olga on the ship, and she is a witch, a spiritual person, a medicine woman type person, and
she's a satyr. She uses
satyr. Yeah, you're right. And played by my brain just went completely blank. I see her face.
Although she doesn't really do anything like. Oh, whatever. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Robert Eggers' greatest contribution to the world, Anya Taylor-Joy?
Yes, Anya Taylor-Joy. Thank you. Sorry. So basically, he is. The rest of the film is about him taking revenge and Olga helping him, and then them falling in love. And that's all I'll say.
We're stop there?
Yeah, let's stop there.
That's like the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. Well, he goes and he becomes like a slave working for his uncle, and he's just biding his time. He finds the sword. He does all these things. He's like, oh, this is part of the myth. This is it. This is it. And then I guess the biggest part of the film is like him trying to decide if, he really does have to do this fate, or if he doesn't, but he made an oath, so he's probably gonna stick to the oath.
And you really feel his connection to that oath when he just stares into the camera emotionlessly.
Yeah, you really feel it.
I wouldn't criticize Arnold Schwarzenegger, a bodybuilder, for a performance like that.
Right.
Alexander Skarsgård is an actor.
Yes.
Why is his performance that in this movie? What if?
That is a great question.
I mean, like right away when Willem Dafoe says, "Spider-Man, you can't have any emotion or cry." It's like, why put that on your? now your actor's just going to be like, oh,
I'm emotionless.
Oh, my revenge. I need it really bad.
I know. The YouTube video I watched talked specifically about him rowing as a boy and then transitioning to him rowing as a man, and those two shots.
I pointed that out when we were watching it.
Okay.
The match cut.
Yes, but apparently he's talking about how like rowing in sync is really hard, and so he was watching the oar in front of him, and then in order to that was all one shot because Eggers likes doing these long shots, right?
Did they swap the kid out or something?
No. The kid was fine. I'm talking about when he's an adult.
Okay.
And he's watching the oars in front of him.
And they do the kind of pan all the way around, and the guy shoots the guys in the boats and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And in order to make that shot work, the guy in front of him had to fling his oar into the water and jump overboard so that they could focus in.
So the cameraman could probably get in there.
So they could focus in on Skarsgård.
That's interesting.
And he said that that was the oar he was paying attention to get his timing right. And he's like, don't mess this up because it's such a long cut and it takes such a long time for them to reset. So then he said, he pointed out, which I'm like, why are you pointing this out, man? But it was interesting.
Stories from the set.
Yeah. He was like, you can see it in my face. I'm kind of panicking because I was paying attention to the oar in front of me, and now I don't have it. And it's to get the timing right. It's
okay, maybe that's the problem. Maybe he thinks that that's what acting is. Because I didn't see any panic.
Yeah, I didn't either. So maybe
is
that's
this guy
the problem.
any good? I'll tell you what.
Don't know.
He is
a beautiful man, but I don't know if he's a
muscle
great actor.
because we saw Tarzan, and it's the same goddamn thing in Tarzan.
I don't think I saw Tarzan.
Oh, I watched Tarzan.
I don't think I saw it.
Oh, well, I watched Tarzan.
Okay.
And Christoph Waltz and Margot Robbie are using 1% of their power, and they are blowing him away. And he's just like, you're trapezius, right? His trapeziuses are as big as his head.
Yes.
And he just is like, it's like, hey man, let's have a little something, anything. Let's show that you have grown into this cunning warrior, like what you're supposed to be able to, because not only does so this is all part of the, it's funny because Amleth actually means like fool. And I think people try to, people try to say like, oh, it's because it's like the tarot, like the fool, Sure. Okay, the tarot, the thing that was invented in like, don't at me, in like the 19th century.
Oh, so how could it be like the same thing?
No, it's like the fool, like he's a fool, like, the wise fool, like a William Dafoe character, Spider-Man. Yeah, is that what it is? But in the legend, like, because, this is a Norse hero, and there's no way that he could be an idiot.
Right.
But anyway, but in the legend, he is tricking people, and that kind of leads to the tricking that Hamlet does in Hamlet, where he's got to set up the thing and like get people to admit stuff. And so, the whole middle part of the movie where he is doing the Solid Snake stuff, and he's going around and like, he's going to kill this guy, and that's going to freak everybody out, and then he's going to go over here and do this. I don't ever believe that like, like this guy could do that.
Because he doesn't seem like he could sneak around. He's not Batman.
Well, apparently he is.
Norseman.
Yeah, right. He's Northman.
Yeah.
So that, I don't know. As far as like what happens in the film, this, it's in chapters. So hot right now, chapters.
Yeah.
This reminds me a lot of that crappy. I actually think that movie might have been better than this one. That early Nicholas Winding Refn film, like Valhalla or something like that, with Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, Mads Mikkelsen. I remember not really liking that much.
Which is very low budget, and to kind of cover that, it's split into chapters. And so this is the chapter where we're outside, and this is the chapter where we're on a boat, which is just a set that's filled with mist, and so we can get away with that.
Sure.
And this is like split. It's like 3 different movies. It's like the first part is just Conan's origin.
Yeah.
And the middle part is like this, with like the Batman kind of like psychological drama where he's running around doing stuff. And then the last part is just kind of back to like rock and roll Viking movie type stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know that they all go together really well. We were talking about like balls out, screaming performance or completely blank performance with a duel at the end, revenge story.
Yep.
Mandy is 100 times the movie that this is.
My God. And you want to talk
about
somebody...
Vikings and rock and roll and
yeah. Yeah. And you want to talk about somebody who has a lot of emotion. Nick Cage, like you can't He can't be blank. If he was blank,
but he is in that film.
Well,
he's just living.
I guess
you get the implication that he and both Mandy they ended up here. They have lives that we don't know about before this.
Yeah.
But now he's a logger, like Fred Ward, and he is just enjoying his life with Mandy, and she reads her sci-fi novels, and he drinks his beer, and so he's just kind of like level 0 Nick Cage.
Yeah.
But then Mandy, censor.
Yes.
And then he becomes a berserker, and then he also ingests like,
and that's a revenge
2 quarts of LSD.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you
haven't
and it ends
in a chainsaw fight.
Oh my God, I know. If you haven't seen Mandy,
so my review of Northman is see Mandy. Well, we gotta talk about spoiler stuff.
Yeah.
So give your review, your recommendation.
I would say skip it.
Yeah.
I guess is my review. I'm disappointed because I really liked The Witch. I liked The Lighthouse as well. It was very strange and different, and I feel like The Witch was very unique as well. And this just feels like I know it's like Amleth and Hamlet, and maybe that's part of it, but this just feels like regurgitated like Viking story. It doesn't feel like anything new or different or like a new way of doing it. Yes, I feel like they really worked on it being historically accurate. Great. But
Yeah.
what is the story? What's the hook? What's really drawing me there? And I don't think this Skarsgård really does that either. I like Anya Taylor-Joy. They didn't give her much to do. So.
I was watching a YouTube video where a guy has talked about the costumes and the set dressing and how it is, and this isn't a guy, he didn't really like the movie, but he said like everything about the movie is incredible and super accurate, except the Valkyrie, they didn't like file their teeth or whatever, like that Valkyrie was sort of weird.
Yeah.
But it is a dream or whatever. Or is it? But how like the clothing was like, those are the patterns that they would use. Those were actual like fabrics dyed with natural dyes.
Sure.
So they were dyed with like goldenrod and like the actual like plants that they would have used, and the construction of the huts and everything was all accurate. So yeah, I mean, like history classes, watch this movie, go for it.
Yeah.
I agree. I feel like even though they're not really big right now, or maybe they are, I feel like I've seen like a half a dozen Viking movies in the last half a dozen years. Mm-hmm. And this is just another one, unfortunately. Yep. And I think they had a chance. Maybe this is not what Robert Eggers in his bro haircut can pull off, but there was a chance to maybe deconstruct some of these ideas.
I think so too.
And
do something different.
Yeah. And instead he just steered right into them. And The Witch is about something.
Yes.
The Lighthouse is kind of about something, but is maybe a deconstruction of masculinity and toxic masculinity.
Right.
And this is just, we're just going to play it totally straight. Here's the subversion. No subversion.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't get that. And he keeps dropping things in the movie where it seems like, oh, maybe we can do one of these now. So like, we won't give any spoilers out here, but maybe the Nicole Kidman's character isn't exactly what she seems.
Yeah, right.
We have a character like Olga who is, the vulva, and she's going to use the satyr, but she doesn't really do anything. Like the two female characters in this are just basically have the biological roles that women do in a story, where they are a mother or a daughter or
a baby maker.
Or a baby maker.
Yep.
And that's real disappointing.
It's very disappointing.
We even bring in a he-witch who's like, I've learned the woman's magic, so I use the satyr. And it's like, well, if just a woman did that. You've got Bjork, I guess, in that tiny role.
In the tiny role. What if Bjork had a bigger role?
Yeah.
What if she was like the witches in Macbeth? I mean, just like, let's just jam our Shakespeare together,
face an army of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I would say, it's still out in some theaters. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know, maybe catch it. I want to support Robert Eggers. I don't think that it's a terrible film.
It's not terrible.
I just can't recommend that you run out and get it. It'll definitely be on HBO in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And just see it then.
I agree with you.
All right. Let's dive in now. Let's go down into the bowels.
Deeper.
Of the burial mound.
The innards.
And fight the Draugr. Who has the sword, which is literally a scene from Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah.
It's just in Conan.
Yeah.
What's going on in this movie? So we've talked about subversion, no subversion. Just to take this movie straight. Like, he is being aided by the gods. He does see Odin. He does go to Valhalla at the end.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a thing where, sometimes, the Vikings, because the Vikings apparently liked eating herbs and doing stuff with that. That's kind of how they got into some of their stuff.
Yeah.
So this isn't a thing where he is given some stuff and he thinks that he's seeing something, but we don't know if it's a hallucination. I think this is just straight.
I think it is too.
Yeah.
But I do also feel like sometimes he's tripping balls. I don't know.
The supernatural is in his wheelhouse. Like Robert Eggers likes the accurate history, but then he likes saying, let's take it all seriously and let's say, the devil is real. He lives in the forest.
Right.
Or there is some kind of octopus lady in the lighthouse or something like that.
Who's like a siren.
Yeah. Right. So like, I'm willing to go with that, but not without, like I said, not without subversion, not without like putting your stamp on it. Like, what's the commentary?
Yeah. What are you trying to say?
I think he would try to say that the fact that that Amleth's mother didn't really love his father, and that his whole quest has been kind of a waste of time would be the subversion, or that Amleth does accomplish what he wants, but he has to give up a life with Anya Taylor-Joy to get it. And it's like, dum-dum, your miserable uncle he would just die in the hills and you could just have your life. And so him giving it away was a mistake.
Yeah.
But we only see it from his perspective.
Yeah.
So it isn't like Anya Taylor-Joy is raising their babies and they're like, what was father like? And he was a fool. What a great end.
Yes.
What a good ending to the movie.
That would have been way more interesting.
Yeah, but no, it ends with like him getting everything he wants and going to Viking heaven and probably having a good time. So
yeah, and she's like, we're safe, and she's holding the babies.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be kings and queens. It's like, no.
Literally what happened to your mother was, and I guess she wanted it, but her husband, the king, was killed, and she was immediately taken away to be raised by some other king. And it's not like your daughter is going to become, you're not sailing to America where women have opportunities to make 75% of what a male king makes.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And like, it's not like Anya Taylor-Joy is going to be able to not get married again. Like, she's going to have to get married. Yeah,
this movie stands at a crossroads between like a mainstream, sword and sandals pick and an art movie. And maybe Eggers' sort of art aesthetic can only go so far. Maybe his movies need more time. They need to be less accessible. I'm sure there's a lot of people who saw The Lighthouse because they like Robert Pattinson or they liked The Witch and just bounced off of it. And like, unfortunately, Hollywood don't make movies like that unless they are willing to take a huge loss because they'll get some awards. Coda made nothing. Coda did not make like a tenth of its budget.
Yeah.
But it got a bunch of awards, and so Sony's happy about that.
Well, it'll probably make it up after now that it's gotten the award.
And the Northman cost $90 million and has only made it hasn't even made $60 million yet. It doesn't look like it's going to make anything else.
Wow.
And so, it is not a success by that metric. But I don't think it's a success artistically as well. I
don't either, and it's just a disappointment to me because I think his other two films are unique. And have like something to say, and have an interesting take and are an interesting story, interesting character perspectives, and still with the historical accuracy that Eggers really likes and really brings to his stories.
Yeah. This is one of those things we talked about this before where maybe this is the pressures that Hollywood puts on a filmmaker, but you have to just be a genius immediately. Or you can make a couple movies in, say, New Zealand or somewhere else and then show up with your skills intact. And I don't think that he has all the skills. I feel like I'm watching him learn.
Yes.
And like I said, I'm divided on this idea because I definitely think that directors learn by directing and I'm willing to give them latitude. But I was disappointed in this. He does a lot of things he's never done before. There are some amazing tracking shots and like these, stitched together oneers that he does.
Yeah.
But it's all very showy and ostentatious, and he's showing you, look, Mom, I know how to do this.
Yes.
And I'm like, great, but use it in the service of something that like I can connect to emotionally and care about. There's a lot of action in this where he really loves his one takes.
Yes.
But that doesn't help us understand the action. So he's got this climax, and you would say, well, he's not supposed to see what's going on. If you're going to have two guys fight in leather thongs in a volcano, I want to see the choreography. I want to see everything that's going on. But instead, you do it all in one take, and it's all smoky. And I feel bad for the actors.
I know.
Because they probably worked really hard on their abs, and you can't see anything. And I don't get, like, why that is.
Well, and then I don't...
Like, if there was some kind of fight scene for some reason in The Witch, I know it would have been done normally with cuts and things like that. But here he's just like, no, it's all these epic tracking shots. And it's like, okay, but then you need to like center the action and choreograph it and do it in such a way so that it's clear still. Because you want you do want that audience. You want the people to come and go, oh, this is so cool. The guy's a Viking. And like those people are making videos saying it's great, but did they really think it was as great as like John Wick shooting 10 people in the face?
Right.
Probably not.
Well, because you can tell what the action is in the
You
John
can see what's
Wick
going
movies.
on.
Yeah, and I feel like besides that climactic scene, there are other fight scenes where I don't know exactly what's going on because it's dark or whatever, and it's like, no, but put some freaking lighting in there. I know it's not necessarily accurate, but like, let's see what's actually happening.
Yeah, he basically kills the mountain off screen.
I know, you're absolutely right. The mountain is in this.
Yeah, there should have been like a big, thing, a big fight or something like that. But he just kind of knocks him down and then like kills him, and it's like, oh,
was
that guy's dead.
That like too much? Was this rated like? It's like, oh, we don't want an NC-17, so
no, I think that he was just like, and then we're gonna do this, and it's this verite style and everything. Yeah. You think about, speaking of stealing from films, you think about Conan and like the final showdown in Conan when he kills Sven Ole Thorsen or whatever, and they're fighting amongst the rock steels or whatever, and he's got the trap that comes out and the fight and everything, and it's all like choreographed, and you're just like, at this, because he's already gotten his ass kicked at this point, like you want Conan to come back and win this thing.
Of course. I mean, can we talk about the thongs too? Like,
that thong!
Is that historically accurate,
no.
Or did we just not want dicks swinging around? Because I mean, it's like, look.
When the naked period.
Look, I don't know. They decided they were going to be naked, but
he shows up with his sword and his shield.
But then no dicks.
Yeah, and his clothes. And
I can't help but be a little disappointed.
Oh, you're sorry. Right. This is where you want. Well, maybe we need to get the director of Blonde in on this.
I'm just saying equal opportunity. I mean, although, did you notice?
Could you imagine? That would be 5 stars for me if they had done that. If Robert Eggers had the balls, so to speak, to go, and then at the end,
balls out, man.
Yeah, and then at the end, just swords out, swords out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted, and that is not what happened.
Yeah.
But did you notice?
But you still see Anya Taylor-Joy's butt.
You can see her butt, but did you notice that they surreptitiously covered her boob, so you couldn't see?
I'll have to look again.
There is no nip.
Okay, well, I'll have to check
nip.
that out.
So, yeah, it was back to the camera, and then arm strategically placed.
Yeah, good work if you can get it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyways.
Yeah. So that's her contribution to this.
Yeah.
I was really sad that Nicole Kidman had to be in this movie. And I'm like, why aren't you using Nicole Kidman? And then we got to her scene. Yeah. And it was like, she still got it.
I know.
That's why she's in it. And she kills her scene.
She does.
And, I wish that there had been more scenes with her.
Well, right. Put more scenes with Nicole Kidman. I thought the switch, the change was great. Like, he had no idea how his mother's true feelings about his father.
Right, but it's maybe it's because we're limited to his POV. But what if we planted those ideas earlier? What if we saw
it would have been great.
What if she had an emotional life up to the point that she betrays him? This woman is is evil and turns on him. What if she was a character before that?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And also, what if we gave Anya Taylor-Joy more to do? She kind of like...
She's supposed to be a witch, and she barely does any spells or anything.
She does some things, but like it's like also him just doing and killing stuff. And like, what was with... It must be historically accurate.
To make a horseman, a man horse?
Yeah. Did that actually happen? Was there some sort of myth where some god or some spirit like
probably
killed
in the
people and made him look like a horse?
It's probably in the Saxo Grammatica
or Amleth or something
source
like that.
Material,
yeah. That was just weird and creepy. And it's like, what? It made me like it kind of took me...
sound sleepers.
Yeah. It kind of took me out of the movie, and I was kind of like, what the heck are you doing, Amleth? Like, I know you're supposed to be freaking people out, but you're freaking me out,
No more corpse art.
Yeah.
This isn't Hannibal.
Yeah. Right. Speaking of Mads Mikkelsen, so just cut it out, okay? Just no. So that's how I feel about that. But yeah, she didn't really do a whole lot. She's like, oh, I have these mushrooms, and people are gonna trip balls. It'll be great.
Yeah.
I mean, she kind of helps him plan stuff, and she gets in trouble. Oh, and his uncle has eyes for her. I guess we should mention that. He's a real creep. But he never actually rapes her.
Never really goes anywhere.
No.
Yeah, he's not... I mean, I guess he's a bad guy. There's a lot of things that just don't... Like, even the lowliest 80s movie would connect all of this stuff up.
Yeah, I feel like that, too.
We watched a movie recently from the 80s, a Joe Dante movie, called Explorers.
Yes.
And there's a lot of things in that are set up and they're total loose ends. And then you hear later that, like, you know, there's like a 40 minutes on the cutting room floor because the studio just said, we need this movie right now. So thank you. We'll take care of it. And they just do it together. So there's a reason that, like, you know, well, let's dig into that. And they don't. They do. It just doesn't. It's not in the movie.
It's not in the movie. Is
but
there
like,
a director's cut or something?
I don't think that happened to this. This guy got almost $100 million to do exactly what he wanted to do.
Right.
And there's a bunch of stuff that is just like, yeah, like what's the relationship between the brother and Nicole Kidman, and, like, you know, he's just, I mean, obviously he's a asshole and a lech, right?
Right.
That's because we want him to get killed.
Right.
But, like, do we?
Like, and like, is he, like, because
You know
apparently he's a really great husband.
Better?
Who?
Movie, pop culture encyclopedia. The Punisher, the Tom Jane Punisher movie.
Wow.
So you think a Punisher movie is, the Punisher is going to kill a lot of people.
Yeah.
All bad.
Mm-hmm.
And he's probably got a, you know, villainous opposite who is a crime boss. Mm-hmm. Or if you're going to go Jigsaw, is going to be a Joker-like figure, a charismatic figure.
Sure, right.
But the Tom Jane Punisher movie is Tom Jane his family is killed by John Travolta, who's a crime boss.
Have I seen this?
Maybe, I don't know. And then the rest of the film...
I'm writing this down.
The rest of the film... Oh, it's not good.
I don't care. I want to see Tom Jane as the Punisher.
And have him fight John Travolta.
Yeah.
And the rest of the film is, because it's John Travolta, who is, even at this point, a much bigger star than Thomas Jane.
Okay, of course.
The movie is split 50-50 between them. And we get to know John Travolta's character. And we realize that he's not a good guy. But he, like your Michael Corleone, for instance, has been forced to make a lot of decisions that he's unhappy with and he disagrees with to keep this crime thing together. Okay. So you start to feel for him. And you start to empathize with him a little bit. Yes. Which makes when Tom Jane starts messing with him, because he messes with him up to the point where he kills him, which is like this film.
Yes, right.
He's going to ruin his life, then kill him.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
It makes it, because if you just hate this guy, you're just like, when is he going to shoot him in the face already? Who cares that he set his car on fire or he killed all his men? You have to kind of feel for the bad guy a little bit. And then when he finally, like, you know, pulls the trigger, then you're like, okay, all right, good. He's out of his misery. Well, we don't ever really reach that point. Even when the guy's son is killed, I feel like it's only a setup for the obvious on-land Viking funeral scene that we have to have. Yes. Where we're all covered in blood and we get some more ass and some more, the ritual, some historically accurate ritual. It's just a set piece.
I think so too.
Yeah.
That's a good, I think you made a really good point. Like, I feel like once Amleth gets to be where his uncle is and is chosen to be a slave because he's like, oh, this one's like a bear or whatever. You're just waiting. The clock is ticking. He gets the sword pretty much right away. It's like, when is this murder going to happen? Yeah. And, you know, that doesn't make an interesting movie.
And and Hamlet is interesting because it's a tragedy, because Hamlet is...
He's biding his time.
He's biding his time, but Hamlet is unable to commit to what he does. Yes. And so it causes a problem. He also messes up in his messing with people. Yeah. Where he puts in motion the plot to kill him, because if he had just killed the king, he'd have a lot of explaining to do, but maybe it would get pulled off. Yeah. But in messing around, he kills Polonius, who then inspires the king to get more villainous and inspires Polonius' son to step up with the king and cause Hamlet's death. Yeah. There is nothing like that in this. No. The guy who needs to die is a lecherous, drunk asshole. Yes. We're just waiting for Skarsgård to pull the trigger on this guy, and we finally get there, and it's like, great, it's over.
Yeah. Right. Right. It's like, oh, he did what he said he was going to do.
He gets stabbed 18
Yeah.
times by the guy's kid. And at that
Yeah.
point, like, he kills his mom and her son. And
Yeah.
so you're like, all right, well, Skarsgård has to die to sort of redeem this at the end.
Yeah.
But, like, him being stabbed 18 times is the only way that I think that it's never been established that, like, Ethan Hawke's brother is a great warrior or something like that.
No.
We know that Ethan Hawke was
Right.
not a great warrior. But how can he take on the berserker guy? Like, this guy just
Right.
mashes everybody that he runs into.
I know. And
But-
how is he matching him? I
Right.
was wondering that too. Like, why are we seeing this? And but we, like you said,
I feel like I've had a big month with Ethan Hawke here.
we have.
Ethan Hawke, not part of my life for a big part
Yeah.
up to this point.
Yeah.
Suddenly, last month, all Ethan Hawke all the time.
Moon Knight, this.
Explorers.
Explorers. Oh, right. I forgot. Little kid, Explorers. Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot of Hawk.
It's a lot of Hawke.
But I don't know. I think he did a good job in all of his parts, though. I mean, he's barely in this.
Well, now we're talking about Explorers.
Yeah.
It's funny that, like, that was his first movie. He
Yeah.
was 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
It's weird to think, that in 10 years before Sunrise,
That's really strange.
no, he'd be making out with Julie Delpy. And also, his mannerisms in Explorers are exactly the same as his mannerisms
watching
as a 51-year-old man.
I was watching
That's
him.
That's
Just
the way he
puts
talks.
His hands in his
and
jacket,
in this
his
movie,
shoulders.
if he had a period accurate Viking jacket, his hands would have been in it.
Oh my god! Yeah, thank you.
Just with a weird Norse accent.
Yeah, right.
Well, I'm just a Viking and the warrior. What? People used to tell me I look like Ethan Hawke.
Really?
Of course, I'm much better looking.
You are much better looking,
But
I think.
in the 90s, I had the goatee and the long hair too.
Okay, well, that's it.
I think it's coming back. I'm gonna grow it out.
You're gonna grow it out?
No, I'm not gonna be an old man with long,
Long hair?
No way. At the end of this extended discussion,
Yes.
would you recommend the film?
No, I think okay. Here. I will extrapolate a little bit on what I said before. I think that the historical accuracy of the film is something to be applauded, and is
No, it's a great looking film.
it's a great looking film. So I think the sets and the costumes and everything were really great. And they went to great lengths to make pretty much everything fairly accurate. And I think it looks really cool. But I think that the story is lacking. And I think that the acting is also lacking. And I think that you're right they said you can't cry. I'm taking away your sadness. You can't,
Is that the ability to
Yeah.
not cry, will that affect will he make mistakes because he is not being empathetic? He's not accessing his emotions.
wouldn't that
will
be
that ever be a
interesting?
well, that would be a just deconstruction of toxic masculinity, wouldn't it?
It
but
would.
this movie's not interested in that.
Yeah, that's kind of my problem with
Yeah.
it. It is just very toxic masculinity. And sorry, Eggers, unlike The Lighthouse, where you did deconstruct that.
Yeah.
So, and I understand you want to do different things, but like you were saying, have something to say more than like, isn't this cool? And yeah, Vikings were cool and were interesting culture and everything,
Yeah.
but.
He wrote The Witch. He and his brother wrote Lighthouse,
Okay.
and he wrote this with a guy named Sjón, who is a Icelandic
Okay.
writer who has written a couple Icelandic movies. I mean, nothing really.
Well, I
you
mean,
would
that's
know.
cool too. But I guess.
Oh, you know what he wrote?
What?
This is the problem.
Uh-oh.
He wrote Lamb.
I don't know if I know that.
Okay, so you'll look up Lamb on YouTube. You will definitely find a video that is critical of Lamb, and it should be. It's a dumb movie.
Okay.
Extra super spoiler space for this movie Lamb, which you should never watch.
Okay.
It is about a couple that raises sheep. They really want to have
I'm very worried already.
They have lost a child, and they really want to have a child.
Uh-huh.
They the woman gets pregnant, the mother gets pregnant.
Okay.
And she has a baby that is a boy that has a lamb head.
Sure.
And they basically, like, weird things happen. They raise it. They're like, well, it's kind of weird. It's like a Stuart Little situation. They're like, that's kind of weird, but they just raise the kid.
Sure.
But it then goes on and weird things kind of happen. Her husband, I think there's an insinuation that there is a lamb man out there that she maybe had sex with.
Sure.
So jealousy develops between her and the husband. And the whole thing ends in tragedy, and you can probably guess where it goes. And it's like, it has no point. You found a metaphor. You decided to do nothing with that metaphor.
Right.
Like, you know, right. You just played it straight, but without anything to say. And it doesn't surprise me at all. I have not really been tracking like The Northman, but it does not surprise me at all to learn that it's the same guy who wrote Lamb, a movie which I did not see, but I watched a couple videos on, and the criticisms of it are all the same. And now that I know that, it's like, oh, that makes perfect sense. Okay. Please don't work with this guy again.
Yeah, please don't.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just say it's a beautiful film. If you're a Robert Eggers fan, I'm gonna say you can watch it, but like you said, maybe just wait till it's on video.
Here's my extended, deepened review or recommendation. I think it's very strange that it has the exact same poster as the Batman. And it is essentially the same story as the Batman. Now, they couldn't copy it. They came out in essentially the same year.
Yeah.
But it's the Batman.
Yeah.
He is vengeance. I think he even says that he is vengeance at one point. His parents died, or one of them died. He later learns as an adult that it isn't what he thought he was.
Yes.
He's got a lady that he wants to make it happen with, but forces are going to get between them.
That's true.
Unlike the Batman, I joked while we were watching the movie that, like, oh, don't worry, he'll grab a torch and lead everybody out of the lake at the end of it. He does not. He simply dies.
Yes.
And in this universe, that means he goes to heaven. That's nice.
Yeah.
But the Batman learns that he can't just do this. He can't just be a spirit of vengeance. He has to be a spirit of hope as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my review is go see the Batman.
I agree with your review because the Batman is a much better film.
The Batman, greater than sign, the Northman.
Yes.
The Batman kicked the Northman's ass.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mama, I found someone like you said.
Well, as far as a movie goes where a volcano slowly boils up over the length of the film until finally it explodes at the end, if that's enough metaphor for you, this is the movie for you.
Yes.
But we are done talking about the Northman. And disappointed that we didn't get to see the Southman. But that's okay. Maybe next time. He shows it in an episode of True Blood, I guess. But anyway, the point is, you can find us. We will show you our Southman. No.
Whoa, no,
that on social
came out
media.
wrong.
No, we got banned for that. Find us on social media. Just Enough Trope, Instagram, Twitter. We're also on Discord and Facebook. And on Discord, we discuss things like the Northman.
Yes.
And what the hell, we'll put a spoiler channel up for that. I don't know if anybody wants to talk about the Northman, but
I have no idea.
Come join us.
Yes.
Join us and talk about the Northman and what you thought about Bjork returning to films after Dancer in the Dark.
Time.
It's been like 20 years.
It's been a long time.
But she had to come back for this one. But join us on Discord. Also, go to your listening platform of choice and subscribe to this old show of ours.
Yes.
And give us a rating and a review. We'd appreciate it. It really does help us out and helps our gods, the algorithms.
Yes.
I think that's a Vanir god. Know that we're doing a good job. Give us 5 men who have been turned into a horse.
Yeah. Oh God.
And if you've seen the movie,
gross.
You know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't,
it's not great.
Maybe you don't need to know. Doesn't matter.
No.
But give us 5 stars. We would appreciate that.
Yes.
And that is it for us this week. We'll be back next week to talk about something else. Until then, we are signing off. I'm your host, Caliban.
I'm your co-host, Mikan Hana.
Keep the geek fires burning.